The episode 2 of this anime begins with this man telling Hirako that he is doing well. He was always watching him because protecting human lives was his specialty. And because Hirako suffered a lot in his life, he wanted to compensate him for what he suffered. And when he put him in that forest, he found it a very dangerous area full of evil monsters. Will he be able to support himself through farming or not? And this man wants to communicate with him so that he can be reassured. But this violates the rules and laws, so he decided to leave him alone to adapt to his situation. We then see Hirako harvesting the results of his cultivation with his powerful cultivation tool. And that he learned a lot of things. First, he knew about a lot of crops that he was able to grow without planting any seeds. Like tomatoes, potatoes, etc. And that if he imagined the implant he wanted to plant when he used the powerful cultivation tool, he finds that the seed he wished for is growing in the ground. Hirako sits and watches these plants grow every day. It grows rapidly using the comprehensive cultivation tool, but when it grows, its shapes change. Such potatoes turned green as the sun hit them. He remembered that it could be poisonous and he was afraid to eat it. To prevent this from happening again, place a small mound of dirt near the base of the plant. So he learns from his mistakes and corrects them. Hirako tells that he lives a very primitive lifestyle in this forest. His lunch today is a soup made of rabbit meat and very fresh vegetables without any pesticides. And when the food was ready, he ate it and found it very good. But it needed some salt to make it taste more amazing. And then he thought of planting trees in this place. And if all goes well, his diet will improve immediately. But he will have to be very patient because he knows that fruit trees take years to bear fruit. And then Hirako plays with his dog and notices that this type of dog in this world shows them horns in their face. Hirako decided to go with them to explore the rest of the forest and found a river as a source of water. There is a big waterfall at this river, so he thinks of digging a way for this water to go to his house. But he will work away from his house for a while because the river is 30 minutes away from his house. So he built himself a toilet at the construction site. He also transformed the agricultural tool into a wheelbarrow and never got tired when using this tool or when he was building. When Hirako finished delivering the water, he returned to his original quarters, cleared more of the forest, and continued to expand his crop fields. And he planted a lot of crops, but he wanted salt for them when cooking them, so he decided to go in search of rock salt to use for eating. After a period of time, the weather started to get very cold, and he could not stand this cold in these clothes. He also saw snow on the trees around him, so he wanted to do something to prepare for the winter. Where he tried to use the skin of giant rabbits, but it smelled very bad. He worried that they would start to rot, so he abandoned them. He knew that his only option was to set fire to his hut. So he will go to collect firewood and food for the winter. And then something that looks like a spider appears in front of him. He says, "Is this a spider?" The spider does something strange and Hirako is amazed. It looks like a really nice piece of cloth. "Is this a handkerchief? They even embroidered it." He says, "This is amazing. Thank you." Hirako speaks. The spiders seem to live in the giant tree. And their favorite food is potatoes. And it's not just fabric that they can even make clothes really well. And they have already managed to turn the animal skins that I gave up into cute things. Hirako talks about the house and says that the bed is stuffed with leaves and the curtains block the wind just because things made of cloth now make this place more civilized. And by the way, I gave the spider a name. Based on my first impression, I named it Zabuton. And now I have one other person I can count on to live here. He says winter has finally arrived and it's very cold outside. But thanks to the preparations I've made, I'll make it through. And the dogs are all warm inside. And Zabuton might be a destroyer or something. Because they haven't come down from the tree recently. It snows here, but fortunately it does not accumulate much. If heavy snow fell in this area, it would have already destroyed my hut. I'm still a little concerned that the pre-stored food should be enough to last. And I have no problems living here now, but I wish I had some salt. For some reason I've been feeling really lonely lately. How long have I been talking to someone? At this rate, I might forget how to talk. At last the weather seemed to thin out and the snow was melting, and soon it felt like spring. And at that time something was going on with the puppies. They all entered the forest and it was time for them to leave the nest. Seeing them grow up so well has brought me some joy and some sadness. And when I found myself, I started to get lost in those kinds of thoughts. And they came back after a few days. Apparently they all went to look for partners. I wonder if he ever got into a fight with a rival. It's not easy being a dog. Another surprise was that after not seeing them for a while, Zabuton appeared with a group of children. I think it was a female. This is all good news. Everyone has a bigger family now. Honestly, I'm jealous. Thus, there were more mouths to feed. And that means it's time to work harder at expanding my crop fields. Hirako hears a voice and says Zabuton is sounding the alarm? Is there something bad heading this way? And Koro led me into the middle of the forest. Meeting a new person always comes as a surprise. And this is a little girl. Why is she in the middle of the woods here? And why is she in this situation? Hirako helps her and saves her, but she bit him and suddenly grew bigger.
はよくわからないが。女の子だ。黒に連れられ。待て待て。成長した。
He says, did you grow up? She told him thank you for saving me. Hirako says, who is she? Is she a monster or something dangerous like that? Monsters attack her, but she gets smaller again. Hirako says she is getting younger. Are you an enemy and you are here to harm us? She told him to stop seducing your dogs on me. He told her, but you sucked my blood now. She told him I'm sorry but I couldn't help. He told her well looks harmless enough. The reason she sucked my blood was to regain her strength. And it used a lot of energy. She could no longer maintain the shape of her body or what she was wearing anymore. Why did they all attack you in the first place? She tells him I thought I can face someone. And he lets her suck blood from him again, and I feel like she's sucking a lot of my blood, but I don't feel any effects from that at all. The girl says I have not tasted blood so full of vitality, you must live a healthy life. Hirako tells her, aren't you younger than last time? She told him if she sucked more of your blood, your life would be in danger. He told her, don't worry about it, take whatever you want. This girl runs and says I can't believe that there is a place like this in the middle of the forest. Is all this your crops? I have never seen this plant before. This is one of the red fruits. It is very beautiful. Are they ornamental plants? And he told her that they were tomatoes. Have you seen them before? She told him no this the first time. And he says to her, do you want to try one? And you tell him you can eat them like this? She eats it and says it tastes very good. Hirako rejoices and says it is really good to hear someone praise you for your work. And you tell him I want to see your other crops? Hirako agrees to her request and takes her to see these crops. At nightfall they sit at home. Aro says, I never imagined I would be able to recognize her. I saw so many varieties of crops in one day. Hirako replied, I think this thing is because of magic. It makes sense, because I am in another world. And Hirako tells us about this girl and says her name is Ro Rolosi. A vampire. She sucked a lot of my blood. It became normal. She told me that she was conducting research on medicinal plants. This girl got into a fight with some powerful people. They tried to steal her research. But she refused. She managed to escape, but they were on the lookout for her. She decided that it would be best for her to stay somewhere until things settled down. Then she heard about this forest. I thought that coming here might help her search too. So I asked him, did you tame all those monsters in the forest? He told her I did not understand anything from you. I mean the superpowers you used, she said to him. I have never seen anyone possess such superpowers before. Do you know that I am very happy since I have spent these days with you? Hirako said, and I am too. I think I am happy about that. I couldn't believe I met you. Since you are so happy in this forest, what do you think to stay with me forever? She said to him, well, I will stay for a while, and when I complete the search, I will leave. He answered her, saying, I want you with me forever. But she was shocked by his words. She told him, you surprised me in all this. Also, there are people who are following me, meaning that I could die at any time. He told her it didn't matter. I will protect you. She said to him, but I am a vampire. He answered her, there is no problem. She continued to think for a while, and then said to him, okay. I will accept this offer. Although it was very surprising. But we will adapt to each other. The next day they went to me together. The field, beauty, tranquility and nature. I am thinking of planting sweet potatoes. It is very easy to cook and eat, besides its irresistible taste. Do you know, girl, that you are the first girl to arrive in this village? She said to him, do you call this forest a village? He answered her saying it started to evolve little by little. Previously, this spider was with his family and he had a group of children. She told him it doesn't matter. Do you think we can grow medicinal herbs in this area? He told her yes, it can be done. Let's try this. Without any seeds. Do you know how that is? I will tell you everything. And in the evening, specifically in this place, a person talks about Western clients that have appeared in the place recently, but he did not know anything about them. Who are these strange people, what do they want, and who is this girl who appeared? This is what we will know in the next episode, so follow us.